Game 2 of the NBA Finals is tonight. We've got the Boston Celtics going up against the Dallas Mavericks once more in TD Garden. Game 1, it's over. That was beautiful while it lasted, but it's over. Now we have to look ahead to what is happening tonight, and I think there will be a very, very different Dallas Mavericks team on the court tonight. Different coach, different superstars. I think we're going to see a lot more aggression, and they're not going to look as frazzled as they did in Game 1. There were several instances where I was like, maybe the Mavericks just aren't prepared as much as I thought they were. They look like they're second-guessing everything. I highly doubt that'll be the case here tonight. But can the Celtics perform the way they did in Game 1? That'll be a big question as well. So I want you guys to go ahead and predict the score of the Game 2 of the NBA Finals in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. My prediction for Game 1 was 128-117. Obviously, that was nowhere close to the 107-89 type of victory the Celtics had. So it could be anybody's ball game here. So for my prediction for Game 2, I'm going to go with 111 Boston Celtics. And I'm going to go with 109 Dallas Mavericks. All right, let's get into our keys to victory. Welcome in, Tyler Smith. All right.
What's going on?
Smith, we got to talk about the unicorn.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis, what an entrance.
You got to unleash him, man. You got to stop with all restrictions now. He looks fully healthy, completely capable. You got to put him in the starting lineup. If I'm Joe Mazzulla, and I do not think Kristaps will have possibly the level of hype that was there for Game 1. I think the adrenaline was pumping for Game 1. But I do think that KP's talent is still there. And I'll tell you what I really, really missed was his height, his wingspan, and the fact that they were able to drop off the basketball in the paint numerous times when Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or any other offensive player on the Celtics did not have that resource. And the way that he finished around the rim was just chef's kiss, Smitty.
It was phenomenal. I mean, he was finding mismatches. They were getting good switches on him, and he was able to just shoot over defenders, kind of bullying them there in the high post. Maybe a couple flops by guys like Jaden Hardy and Josh Green there that Chris has got field goals made over. But I want to kind of touch on the third quarter here. When the Mavericks really cut that lead to single digits. And Joe Mazzulla didn't really go back to Kristaps Porzingis. We know he had 18 in the first half, and then he only had that lone dunk there in the early stages of the third quarter. Then the Mavs went on their run, and they really didn't go to Porzingis much there. So I do like the unleash the unicorn kind of mantra here. Is if the Mavs have a clear matchup nightmare for Porzingis, why don't you just go to him? Why don't you run the offense completely through him when you're going through rough spats like that? It just feels like something that can kind of hit the reset button for Boston and make the Mavs defense play a little more honest and spread things out. Maybe collapse more in on Porzingis, and he up there with 7'3" can find shooters on the wing and what have you. So all around what he did there in the first half last night was something you can't replicate. I mean, it was one of the best quarters, halves of basketball I've seen from any Boston Celtic in my lifetime.
Yeah.
It was that legit. And I think if he continues to play like that, he's going to have a good chance at winning Finals MVP if the Celtics take this thing home. And I just think you have to go to him a little bit more than you did in the third quarter in Game 1.
I agree, and plus, you got to think about the circumstances with Derek Lively as well. I think that's probably going to be your best matchup for the Mavericks going up against Kristaps Porzingis, because Gafford was pretty much handling Jason Tatum, because you got to think Tatum's still 6'10", so you can't let him, run out like a point guard neither. So with Derek Lively, he had 5 fouls in the third quarter. So he wasn't able to really pull his full potential either because of that foul trouble. So Kristaps Porzingis got to have a little bit more of his way down low. So I do think Derek Lively is going to be a different person, which he's going to be the best matchup for Kristaps Porzingis as well, which goes along with Joe Mazzulla. If you're going to run with the unicorn, you might as well take off the reins and just let him do what he is best at. Okay. And what the Celtics seem to be best at in Game 1 was continue to drive and draw the defense. I want to talk about Tatum here specifically, because there were several clips that I saw from Game 1 where they tried to double team. They tried to strong side Tatum, and he took advantage of that. He did not hang around the three-point line, and you know Tatum likes the ISO, and we got to see that a little bit, but it was the dribble drive down low and the immediate kick out to wide open three-point shooters around the arc. It was excellent the way the Celtics drew that in. And if Tatum needs to be the decoy to drive down low, I'm not sure if they're going to double team Tatum the way they did in game one because they realized it just didn't work because the Celtics offense is just too good. But I do think if you continue to draw that defense in, they do not have the resources on defense to lock up the Celtics offense in entirety.
This is a problem that the Mavs probably didn't realize that they were going to face, and it's a problem they haven't faced this entire postseason so far. You know, you talk about the first series. You know, they had Harden, Paul George, and they could kind of collapse on those guys. But the Clippers didn't really have the perimeter shooting and the five-out offense ability that the Celtics do. And then you go to the second round against OKC, and you really have that one shot creator in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And you're looking at guys like Jalen Williams and Lou Dort, who are good, not great three-point shooters. And then Chet Holmgren the same way, good, not great. They just didn't have the lethal shooting that the Celtics do. And then you end up going to Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. And, you know, they have Rudy Gobert on the floor half the time. He's just not even a threat on offense. That allows the Mavericks to play a completely different type of defense on Minnesota. Now you play the Celtics. They got five guys on the perimeter, and everybody has to be covered. They just couldn't do it last night. There has to be so much attention on Jason Tatum. There's screen grabs. There's game film. There's so much evidence of Jason Tatum just being so gravitational for this Mavericks defense. They were not able to cover everybody with the way that he commands the defense to guard him. There was 2, 3, 4. All eyes of every Mavericks defender was on Jason Tatum when he had the ball in his hands. So if you continue to drive and draw defense, have that defense collapse, there's going to be plays like when he found Derek White in the corner. There's going to be plays like when he finds Kristaps out for 3. Jason Tatum is the key to this offense.
Yes.
And if he continues to play the way that he is, just playing in the flow of things and not trying to be the hero, I don't care if he wins Finals MVP. I just want this ring, and Jason Tatum's doing what it takes to get it done.
Yeah, I think he'll say the same thing, too. He's definitely going to put his self-accolades aside to get Banner 18.
He's not trying to play hero ball out there.
No. And what was it, Smitty? I think 7 Celtics were in double digits last night. I mean, it was
7
just...
Celtics also hit multiple threes last night. Shout out Sam Hauser.
Oh, love that guy. So, obviously, their defense has a bigger challenge ahead of them in Game 2. But the Celtics were not clean. They were not clean the entire game. Jason Tatum, for a while there, only had 2 more points. He had 8.
First half, at halftime, he had 8 points, 6 turnovers.
6 turnovers.
To be fair, he did clean that up in the second half. Zero TOs in the second half.
He did, but
overall,
6 is disgusting. 6 is disgusting. He wasn't the only one. There were definitely some sloppy plays that you were just trying to dribble and trying to make too many things happen. And Kyrie Irving is such a scrappy defender that he will try to work down low, which I do think Kristaps Porzingis. Peyton Pritchard driving down low. Jason Tatum, when he tried to have 2 teams, and he was double teamed, so I do see why that was more turnovers than not. But you just have to clean it up. You have got to secure the ball so much better. Because if the Mavericks had the offensive game they typically have, because I can't tell you last time they scored 87 points. I really can't.
Yeah.
Then if they were as hot as they have been in this postseason on offense, they will capitalize. Which, if I'm not mistaken, 9 times out of 10, they did score after every single Jason Tatum turnover. I don't know that for sure, but that's what it felt like watching them score the basket off of our turnover here for the Celtics.
Yeah, Tatum talked a little bit about how he felt going into the ball game, and he said he was nervous. He said, you know, it felt a little different than it did back in 2022, and he definitely felt the burden of losing and not making the finals last year. And he said he felt like a little kid out there, just like the nerves kind of got to him. And I guess I understand that, a little bit of a game 1 jitters for Jason Tatum and a couple other Celtics. I know Jaylen Brown had a turnover where he threw the ball out of bounds. Drew Holiday turned it over as well. So overall, I think the Celtics kind of came into their own a little bit. I think they ended up with 6. I think Jason Tatum actually might have had all 6 turnovers at the half. And then they ended up with 12 on the full game. So I can't be too upset with how things go. 12 turnovers isn't too bad over the course of an NBA game. But you want to limit those live ball turnovers. We talked about that before the series began, and how the Mavericks are so effective in transition. That really helps them get into a rhythm offensively. If you just allow them to not get those easy possessions, then things are going to be fine moving forward.
With that being said, we do have our defensive keys to victory as well in the back half of this show, but I do want to make sure that you guys know our sponsor here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Our sponsor is PrizePicks, and Smitty and I are both playing PrizePicks way before they actually ended up sponsoring this show, and there's two good reasons for that. One, it's extremely easy to play and win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks, and it's just super fun to play as well. It's just so aesthetically pleasing when you're going through the different players' projected stat types, the different teams, the different sports categories that they have. I mean, my goodness, you can do NBA full games. You can do first quarter, fourth quarter, second half for all WNBA, NBA games as well. They got the NFL coming back up. College football is right around the corner. If you guys are looking to turn $10 into $1,000, then PrizePicks is for you. All you guys have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players, like I have here. I have 3, and just pick more or less. That's it. It probably took me, I'm going to start timing myself. It probably took me 21 seconds to make this. I'm going to be honest. This was so easy for me. Just testing my skills, seeing if I know the Celtics defense well enough to stop Kyrie Irving from having 3 made 3-pointers here, to have Kristaps Porzingis trust in him to have more than 15 points, and same with Holiday, more than 5 assists. 5 million people across the nation are playing this app, and there's for a good reason. If you guys want to join 5 million strong, go on ahead, download the app, PrizePicks, and use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. I promise it's going to be that easy to watch yourself win some real money in real time with quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and projected stat types. That's why I play PrizePicks. Find out why you guys do too. My first defensive key to victory here is to continue. Whatever Kyrie said, I don't care. He looked uncomfortable. He looked like he was not the playmaker and the ball handler that he has been. He started to get a little bit hot to the start of the game. He started to do dribble drives and the step backs and the elbows and the posts and the wings, and I was like, oop, here we go. This is the Kyrie show. But then it was the turnovers. And I will point this out. I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I will point it out. Mike Gorman did disclose via X through a source that he got into it with a fan, and maybe that threw him off a little bit. I'm not sure if that's true. I haven't confirmed it. That's what Mike Gorman, I trust anything that man says, but I could see that 110% happening. We know TD Garden is not a fan of Kyrie from what he did to their arena, to Lucky and that kind of stuff, but nonetheless, all that drama aside, Kyrie did not look good in Game 1.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw a tweet. You talk about what Gorman said, and Kyrie was shooting around before Game 1, and he was all happy and whatnot. And then somebody quoted it and said, "Yeah, it's all fun and games until Bill from Watertown gives you his worst while they're playing." So Kyrie, I guess, was a little bit affected by the TD Garden crowd, and I think he might have tried to. I'm missing the word here, but make up for it, I guess. When he with his post-game comments, when he said, "I thought it'd be louder in here," maybe he was trying to kind of just dispel what happened during the game with him getting into a fan. But aside from all that's all nonsense. Let's talk about the play on the court.
Right.
It was just a weird game for Kyrie Irving. He was missing wide open threes, which I don't really
0 for 5.
Yeah, I don't see him doing. He actually, I'm not going to sit here and act like his 3-point attempts were heavily contested. The Celtics played elite defense on the perimeter on Kyrie Irving. They played good defense, but a lot of those 3-point attempts were open, and Kyrie ended up missing them. So expect for that to change through the course of this series. But I do think that Derek White and Drew Holiday did a phenomenal job on Kyrie Irving.
I was going to say.
They made life difficult on him. And shout out Sam Hauser one more time. Clamped him up in the corner, made it Kyrie 3, hit the side of the backboard. So that one was heavily contested. Shout out Sam Hauser. But the guards did a phenomenal job guarding him. They have to keep making his life difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell me Drew Holiday was not absolutely clamping up Kyrie Irving. And I know that may not have been his best game. I understand. But Drew Holiday was doing the damn thing. And I love that matchup, man. I think the speed is right there. I think Holiday is one of the best players in the Celtics to move off switches, to not get stopped by his screen. So I do think that Drew Holiday is going to continue to bring his A game against Kyrie Irving. And then they did typically have Derek White more times than I probably would have on Luka Doncic. But like Drew Holiday said, they kept throwing different defenders, different players at him. If you mix up those different defensive styles, it's going to make it that much harder on Luka. But I do think Holiday, most of the time, being on Kyrie, has to be my favorite. Has to be my favorite matchup. Even when Peyton Pritchard comes in for Holiday, he's got that speed right there with Kyrie. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit harder to defend somebody like Kyrie of his capabilities, and Peyton Pritchard just, still being pretty young in this league. So overall, if you continue to kind of make him uncomfortable, whether that's the surroundings of TD Garden, whether that's just him being back in Boston, I don't know, that's probably external, but on the court, you have a job to do. And your other job here is to be better on transition defense. The turnovers were one thing, but it was the lack of getting back. It was the lack of allowing 2 or 3 passes up court to end in a Derek Lively dunk or to have a Daniel Gafford wide open down low. The transition defense wasn't terrible, but it wasn't up to par with, once again, if the Mavericks were having the offensive game they typically do, they would have been beat more times than not.
Yeah, I do have to give some flowers to Kristaps Porzingis in this scenarorio because he had a couple of phenomenal blocks in transition.
Yeah, he did.
That one Josh Green dunk. That felt like Terry Rozier when he went up to dunk on LeBron in 2018, and LeBron just stood at the other side of the court after he sent that shit back. But Porzingis was very good. And in my opinion, I thought Porzingis was going to look a step slow, and you might have thought that on the first roll he had
that was tough,
off the first possession. But then he's getting back in transition, and he's running like a gazelle out there. He looks pretty good. Overall, Celtics transition defense, yes, you have to stop ball watching. You just get back and just make the Mavs' life difficult in the half court, because we know the Celtics' half court defense and their half court offense, for that matter, are just better than Dallas's in these scenarios. When you have them slowing things down, Boston's just better on both ends. The Mavs thrive when they're in transition. They thrive when they're running and getting the ball down low, kicking it out for a 3, and there's no defender there. That's when they're at their best, and the Celtics have to do a better job at limiting that.
Well, they're going to have to continue to do a great job on constantly switching on Luka. This is what Drew Holiday was talking about, that it's even Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench, and Drew Holiday said the reason why they were so successful on Luka is because, yes, it was a double-double, I know, but it was 30, 10, and 1. That is not the stat line Luka's been having in the postseason. That's definitely not the highest stat line he'll have in the NBA Finals.
It was a career low in playoff assists.
Which is crazy. But Holiday was like, we have so many different style defenders. Some are aggressive, some are not. If you keep throwing them at Luka, and I'll tell you what, you have to keep throwing different level of speed defenders on him as well, different types of them, because Luka is the best. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Smitty. He's the best at switching paces. He does so well at starting off hot, dribbling down low, slows it down, and then finishes very fast. So when you've got a player like a Peyton Pritchard who only knows fast, he only knows go, 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 go. Sam Hauser always has a hand on somebody's hip. He's always right there with his man. He's definitely more of a shuffle his feet kind of defender. That's going to keep Luka off balance, and he's not going to be able to start, go, stop, do the whole 9 to get to the rack here, which is why, you can't have Holiday on him 24/7. You got Tatum on him a lot more than I thought you would. Jaylen Brown did a great job guarding Luka, specifically coming up and taking that ball up around the logo, around the three-point line, and then down low.
One possession, he didn't even let him get past half court.
No, it was beautiful. So I think you keep switching, Luka may have another game like he did at least once in this series.
I want to shout somebody out that's very special, and it was honestly a game changer in Game 1. Al Horford.
Yes.
I mean, Luka Doncic, when 38-year-old Al Horford, shout out Chris Forsberg for this tweet, was the primary defender in Game 1. Luka Doncic, 1 for 8 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 1 block, 2 points. The Mavs were 5 for 19 overall. That's 26% from the field versus Horford overall. Team high, 13 shots contested, 3 deflections. I play him 35 minutes. I don't care. He's 38 years old. Play his age in minutes. The guy is unbelievable. He's shown no signs of slowing down, and he gets switched on the best offensive player, not named Nikola Jokic, in the NBA, and he did a masterful job on him. He locked him up. There's no way around it. You can't say 1 for 8 from the field isn't clamped the hell up.
Yeah, absolutely it is. No, I think Al Horford does not get the recognition that he deserves, especially in Kristaps Porzingis' comeback game. So, like I said, you want to start KP, start him. You want to start Al Horford, start him. But the fact that stat line right there proves that it can take from Peyton Pritchard to Al Horford to lock up Luka Doncic. It's going to be a long series.
There's no team that they have played that has as many bodies as
No.
Boston can throw at Luka Doncic, and that's going to make life difficult on him. He had 30 points yesterday, but we made him work for it, and we talked about that before the series as well.
But Game 2 is upon us. It is tonight. If you guys are joining Celtics Today live tonight on this Sunday night of Game 2, go ahead and like this video for me. I want to get a nice little roll call, nice attendance, and see who's going to be joining us for Game 2 tonight on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. As always, be there. As always, hit that sub button for me. That way you guys get notified when we go live. That way you guys don't miss anything. I promise we'll never spam you. We just let you know when we post a video, when we go live. That way you guys know the latest on your Boston Celtics.